special edition of the Eye of the Storm podcast, a Guelph Storm podcast hosted by myself, Ryan Drury, the television voice of your Guelph Storm. I'm very pleased to be joined by three of our great billets that we have in the Royal City: Trisha Gibbons, Norm Sutherland, and Renee Chumbley. Welcome to the show, everybody. Very, very great to have you guys on here. Some of you even doing it on vacation.
Yes.
I want to start, Renee, you've been doing this for a long time. I know that your kids are both involved with the organization, and two of them continue to help out with game day operations. I'll start with you. What was it about becoming a billet for the Storm that first inspired you to get involved at this level?
Well, at the very first, we had always hosted international students that were teenagers for the summer. Just they'd come over to learn English. And we had a friend that was kind of involved with the Storm, and she suggested us trying it. And we thought, well, why not? We'll try it. It was a longer commitment. The students that would come would only come for 3 or 4 weeks at a time. And obviously a hockey season is a lot longer. And we thought, yeah, we'll give it a try. And here we are 15 years later, still doing it and still loving it.
Incredible stuff. And Trisha, I know you've had a long history building players as well. What was it about, this experience? And, much like Renee said, you try it out and you keep doing it. What is it that's so special about the billet experience that continues on for you and your family?
I would say for us, we've had so many kids and just the families, we've kept in contact with all the families. They become family. I would say that pretty much just having the boys around and being part of the organization.
And then Norm, I know that you're kind of newer on the scene, and you're currently billeting Noah Jenken. I know that you have history with his family as well, that they probably made it a little easier to kind of get involved. Just tell us what kind of inspired you to get involved in something like this as well.
Well, certainly my wife Sarah and I are the rookies. It was all circumstance with Noah coming to Guelph, because I went to university at Ontario Agricultural College at University of Guelph with his dad, and it just I'd reconnect with him over the last few years, and it was sort of a natural fit, and the timing was everything. Our boy just graduated high school and finished up his minor hockey, so we traded 1 for 1 for two 18-year-olds. One moved out and one moved in, so kind of extended our minor hockey career in a different fashion, I guess, this year.
It certainly did. And, I'll go around the other way now. Obviously, talk about the kids you're currently billeting. Obviously, Norm, you've got Noah there. What's he like, as a billet son, if you will? What's it like having him around the house and being able to be a part of the Storm community through him?
Well, it's certainly a pretty easy transition because he's a pretty chill personality, which is quite similar to our son. And coincidentally, he's born 2 days before our son. So we having him in the house was pretty easy, quite frankly. I think the only adjustment was my home office. I made sure I got a headset so I wasn't yelling too loud on my speakerphone and wake him up in the morning. But he assured me he's a pretty sound sleeper anyway. So that was really good, and really enjoyed having him, and looking forward to having him back this fall.
Absolutely, with a big year on deck here as the Storm gets set to host the Memorial Cup next season. And Trisha, I know, for a longer tenured billet, I'm sure that announcement was extremely exciting. I know that you're currently billeting. I had to laugh when I saw this. I know you guys currently billet Grant Spada and Chris Soares. That's got to be a pretty interesting household.
Yes, definitely. Grant's probably our longest standing billet right now, and it was a great season. It's been a great 2 seasons with him, and having Chris come in this year was really exciting too, and them together were just a lot of fun. Our house was one of the houses that seemed to be where a lot of the kids would come, and so that was a lot of fun too. Yeah.
And then Renee, I know that, you're currently building Colin Ellsworth, if I'm not mistaken. You got a goalie in the house. They're interesting characters too. What's your experience been like so far having Colin around the house and kind of handling that? Because, the pressure on these young goalies, it's really something.
It is. Yes, and he came to us, he was only 15 because he's a late birthday. So he was very young, very, very young, very responsible, probably the most responsible person in our entire house, to be honest. Very dedicated to his routines and what he has to do in a day. His day revolves around school and hockey, and he's definitely committed to that. And he's just a great kid.
So I know that a big part of obviously being a billet family and welcoming these young men into your home is obviously, you know, integrating them into your family. I mean, these young guys become a part of your family. I'm sure, you know, for you longer tenured billets, you guys still keep in touch with a lot of the players that you've had come through, and that's a special thing. And Renee, again, we'll go around the other way. I'll start with you. What do you think being a billet family for the Guelph Storm has done in terms of enriching your family life and the people that are involved in your home and your life on a day-to-day basis? What's it done for you guys?
It's just opened our eyes to how a junior athlete, what they go through in a season. I mean, it's different. I mean, as a fan, you don't realize when you're watching these young kids how young they are on the ice to begin with, and then what they have to do as a commitment to a team. There's lots of ups and downs in a season, and you see them go through it mentally and emotionally. And injuries could become a part of it. There's just so much. They're away from their families. The first season is usually the hardest one to be, you know, brought into a different family and hopefully integrate very easily and well. And all of ours seem to have. We've had three from Switzerland, 2 longer term. One was a shorter term, and those were our first experiences. So they were international students or players to begin with. And so that was a definite commitment too, because they don't go home on the odd off weekend they get, and they don't go home for special occasions. They are with you the entire season, and it was great to have them. Probably even harder to say goodbye at the end of the season because you knew that you weren't going to see them over the summer at all. So yeah, it's been a wonderful experience.
And Trisha, for you, I mean, I assume you're sitting there with your daughter and you guys are doing this from vacation. Again, we really appreciate that, taking some time from beautiful Dominican. What would you guys both, I'd be interested in both your answers on this since she's sitting there with you, Trisha. Like, what do you guys think being a billet family has done in terms of enriching your own lives and being a part of the hockey community in a unique way that a lot of fans, frankly, don't get to experience?
I mean, for myself personally, we started doing it when I was about 9. Now I'm 20, so it's definitely been with me throughout the whole time. They started off as like big brothers, and now they're little brothers, so it's definitely a big change there. But it's nice. It's nice having them around. You know, you do get to see a different side of them than on the ice, and it's definitely a very different perspective from being a fan to being a part of their everyday lives, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the fans don't see what we see. Like I'll echo a lot of what Renee said. You know, we've had everywhere from, you know, the 15, 16-year-old rookies up to the people, the OAs. And, you know, we've gone through a lot of injuries. We've had someone from Slovakia who was also a goalie, you know, so you have all of those sort of intricacies and like dealing with their homesickness and whatnot. And we've been really lucky as far as the diversity that we've had in our house, for sure. And, you know, you're not just being the other mother, you're also being a little bit of a support, like through, not getting ice time or whatever, right? So fans don't necessarily see that side of them.
They certainly don't. And I think that a lot of people don't necessarily take into account some of the things that these guys deal with in their everyday lives. Some of them are still students. Some of them are preparing for post-secondary, preparing for their draft year. There's a lot of stress around these young men. You know, Norm, obviously, and I appreciate you joining us here. I know you're at West on the farm helping out, so I appreciate you taking some time. From your perspective, you know, what is, you know, your relationship obviously with Noah and his family? How has that helped you kind of transition into being a billet parent now? And what's it doing for you and your family? Obviously, you know, having that experience with your son recently moving out, now you get Noah in there. What's it doing for you guys, do you think?
Well, it's certainly a treat to reconnect with a university friend at a different level and frequency for sure. I think maybe a little different perspective. I work with Syngenta Canada, and we've been longtime sponsors of the Storm, and I've also been involved where we've had partnership with the OHL. So I've actually interacted with the OHL at a different level, and still play hockey myself and been around hockey my whole life. I think this was a different lens in the local community to. I think just that's what my wife and I talked about is, we probably frequent Storm games the most we've had in years now that our kids are growing up, and it kind of extends our minor hockey life. And I think, I really acknowledge the work that Matt Newby and the crew have done to create the entertainment and social experience at the Sleeman Center. And in addition to, you want a good product on the ice, but even if it's a okay year, it's still a great social atmosphere. And so I guess just being a little bit more connected to the community in a different way is probably maybe the part we didn't really anticipate going into it.
Norm, I got to ask you, since you're still playing, does Noah ever drag you out in the driveway and kind of get you to practice with him? Like, what's happening over there?
I'm not sure. I'm a goalie, so I'm sure that wouldn't be much practice.
Even worse.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
no.
they could probably rip them by me pretty easy. So no, we haven't got to that. I would like to bring them out to our pickup games, but I don't think the team would like that too much at the risk of coming out with a bunch of muckers.
Yeah, they'd be upset that you brought a ringer. That would be, yeah. He's too good of a kid, though. He'd pass the puck to everybody else. He wouldn't even take a shot. I want to ask you, Norm, obviously I mentioned, the Memorial Cup is coming to town next year. It's not only a huge event for the players, but the people that look after them, the Billet families, their families, the whole city. It's going to be a huge party and a huge spotlight on the city of Guelph. That aside, Norm, if you were talking to somebody, especially coming at this from a newer lens, if you were to talk to somebody who is considering becoming a billet, not just of maybe even a Guelph Storm player, but of a junior hockey player, what would you tell them about your experience and why is it special, Norm?
I think it's a chance to be a part of something and also connect yourself in a different social fabric. Like you get in your zone of your kids' friends and their parents if they play different activities or your work or your neighborhood. And I think, having lived in Guelph for over 20 years and been around it, it just connects with different people and creates different experiences, which is a nice way to kind of fill out I guess the weekends and then create a little bit of a different dynamic in your life, and certainly being a part to be able to support young athletes and if it be a sounding board or create a comforting environment for them to thrive is a little bit of a way of giving back too, which is always a good thing for the soul.
Absolutely. How about the Gibbons? What would you guys say to prospective billets that were maybe considering doing this?
It's funny that you asked that because we're constantly telling our family and friends to try it out. A lot of our friends have kids the same age as her that have gone off to university and might have the space in their house. And, why not give it a try? Because we love it so much. And, and she does the head shake. It's just such a great opportunity. Yeah, like exactly what Norm said. It's being a part of the community and being a part of the team and just seeing the boys like at the house and whatnot. It's such a, I don't know, it's like almost like an honor to have them there, really, kind of being able to take care of them and give them that safe space away from home, So I'm always trying to recruit other people.
I'm sure the Storm loved to hear that. Renee, for yourself, obviously you have a bit of a unique angle on this too, being that, like I mentioned, your kids have been inspired to get involved with the organization. I'm sure that the positive experiences that they've had with having the players in your household probably, helped play a role in that, So what would you say to people that are maybe considering doing this in terms of the impact that it can have not only on yourself, but, on your kids in the house too?
Right. Yes, exactly. Our youngest was 5 when we started. They were 12 and or 5, 10, and 9 at the time, and now they're well into their 20s. So it's been a different dynamic with players too. First they were the big brother, and then now they're the little brother, the player. So it's been different. So it's been a totally, and each time it's been a great experience, no matter what sort of dynamic it is. They've always blended in well with our family. It's just, we're, like Trish said, we're also a family that just likes to have people around, and I like to care for people, and just provide that home that's away from home, that's a supportive sort of nurturing environment for them, and just provide whatever they're needing, whether they're sick or feeling a bit down or whatever, just sort of lift their spirits, or whatever they need. Maybe they just need time alone. You just have to know what your player needs, and just provide that sort of atmosphere for them.
I want to ask you guys all as well. We've talked about what it means to the players, what it means to you guys and your families, and how special these interactions are that you guys are able to experience and ultimately offer these young men that come into your homes. I'm curious what your take is on working with this great organization. Norm, you brought up our buddy Matt Newby earlier, who's just a first-rate human being. That's a big part of this too, is you guys having a relationship with the organization. And I would say, from obviously a biased perspective, we're pretty lucky to be working with an organization like the Guelph Storm. And Norm, you said it perfectly. Even when things don't go necessarily the way everyone wants it to on the ice, the organization is top notch. And Renee, I'll start with you. Your impression of just how lucky we all are to be able to kind of work with the Storm and be a broader part of Storm Nation and the Royal City community.
Exactly. They've been a fantastic organization to be involved with George, even Mike Kelly back in the years. That they're always there for you. If you ever have an issue or a problem or a question or anything at all, they're always there 24/7. And just the front office staff has been amazing too. Melanie is so supportive with any sort of needs that we need. And just down to the coaching staff. I mean, they look out for these boys. They always know where they are and what they're doing, and just sort of takes that sort of pressure off of us as billets, that they're so involved with what the players are. We're not worried about them getting into trouble or anything, because they're very well watched, and they know that they have to be they have to be part of the team, and if they want to be part of the team, they have to follow the rules, and they're there to watch out for that for us too as well.
Trisha, what would you say just in terms of, how special it is to be able to work with an organization like the Storm in doing something like this, something that you've been able to do for a long time?
Yeah, I pretty much just echo everything that Renee said. Everybody's been really great. I still remember when we first were talking about doing this, having Mike Kelly and Melanie on our couch, having a cup of coffee to, have that initial, introduction, I guess, to the program. And that was really cool. And yeah, everybody's been really neat. Brennan has been amazing. He's always in contact. And Melanie is fantastic, as Renee said. It's honestly been a really great experience overall, right from the beginning.
Norm, I'll start off my final question for all you guys by asking something that I always like to ask the players when I have them on here, particularly for the first time. You guys have all been around Guelph for a long time. Norm, you talked about, being around Guelph for a long time, going to school there. What's special about Guelph as a junior hockey city? What is it about the Royal City in your mind that makes it such a special place for not only the players to come and play, but for the fans and for the billet families to be involved in? What's special about the Royal City?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people, if you're certainly referenced to be, Guelph as a medium-sized city, but it really feels like a big town. I mean, I grew up in a small town on the prairie, so I guess I've been there long enough to sort of certainly acknowledge that that's definitely the feeling. I think when you have a mid-sized city and a well-run organization, and again, credit Matt for years of consistency, I think it truly is the fabric around the city, and people feel it. So I think I know with some of the other teams, there's a few pot shots about being in the mall and being mall rats, but I think that's actually part of the really cool vibe of where the Storm play, and I think that's going to be a real exciting time with the Bicentennial Memorial Cup, and next year it's going to be extremely festive in that downtown environment.
I absolutely agree. Hey, if you guys watch the broadcast, you know that Mark Perry and I, we're Team Mallrat, okay? We're getting shirts made, so don't worry about that. Guys, I really appreciate all your time. Like I said, we got people participating on vacation. We got Norm working out on the farm. Renee, I know you're very busy as well, and worth mentioning that Renee volunteers at the Garrett McFadden's Movement golf tournament. I will see you there and at
Absolutely.
the gala as well. I can't wait. By the way, if anyone wants to participate in that, you should go to McFaddensMovement.com. I doubt there's golf spots left. It fills up quickly, but just in case, go over there and check it out. And the gala that's happening on July 16th, the night before, look into that. It's going to be a fantastic night celebrating 10 years of McFadden's Movement. Guys, I can't thank you all enough for lending us your time. Really appreciate all the work that you guys continue to do with our great players, and we really, really appreciate you joining us here on Eye of the Storm. Thank you guys all so much.
Thank you,
Ryan.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Enjoy the summer.
All right, everybody. Remember, we will be doing this podcast monthly until the season starts kicking up again in September. You can find this show on YouTube, all your favorite podcast apps, the Guelph Storm website. And remember, you want to get some packages, ticket packages, they're already popping up for the Memorial Cup next year. That's right, it's in Guelph. All that information, including ticketing information for games next year, is available on the Guelph Storm website. We'll see you next month after the draft. Big draft coming up here on Eye of the Storm.